First thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to hand out a piece of paper and I'm going to switch out something. We're going to do a drawing.
Oh yes, I love drawing.
All right. And I do know that at this age group, a lot of students love to draw. Some maybe do not. I was an artistic person, so I like to try to bring art into the classroom or just drawing. But I'm hoping it will help get our discussion about light and light rays and how light works. So the simple object, we are in winter time, so we're simply going to draw a snowman.
Our spec
So right
the
now,
eye says
is anyone having any trouble seeing the snow being on the screen? No, you can see it pretty
You have
well.
to draw the snow as a snow beam. Yes, I was about to say.
What?
You referring to it as a snow beam.
I'm done.
Beam.
That makes me
Done.
happy.
All right. Excellent. But I'm going to make one slight modification. If you don't mind, I'm actually going to have to get on top of the desk. Okay, right now, can you all see what color is the object behind this wax paper?
Purple.
You can still tell what it is, correct?
Yes.
All right. Can you see the color of the hat?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, no problem. All right. I want you, do you think that if I just put this over the projector, you'll still be able to see that though?
Yeah.
All right. Can you hold that?
A little.
All right, you have to get up here. All right.
Wow.
Six foot? No,
All right.
Your head.
Yep. All right. I will give you more time to finish your picture. Now,
Oh.
is there a problem?
Yeah.
No.
All right, raise your hand, raise your hand. What is our issue now? We were able to see it. We had that paper that you could see clearly the color. You could see the color of the hat. So what is our issue at this time? Yes.
We can't see it.
We can't see it. But we can't see the picture, but I'm going to ask, is there still light showing through?
Yes.
Yes, we still have light showing through. All right. But we felt like we could see through the paper or what have you. So this is going to take us into what we're going to cover. So I'm going to take that off. All right. So you are going to be unable to finish your drawing at this time.
You'll have to finish it if you don't want to finish.
If we have time later, we will. But we are going to get into what we're going to cover. So I'm going to mute this screen. But mute it or like blank it out. So you would say that it seemed like we could see through this. Generally to an extent. But the projector wasn't able to, but we did agree that we could still see light through it. So what we are going to do, as I stated, I don't know how far Mr. Bowers got into the paper. We're going to go to the, okay, perfect. He was setting it up, letting me cover that with you. Light and objects. So we're going to take a look and read through that beginning paragraph. We're going to look at the three examples, and then we're going to get into today's activity, today's experiment. So, with my class, I do have some students that do like to read. Is there somebody that would be a willing volunteer to read through what is in that top paragraph? All right. If you can you please read that? And then as she reads, can you just make sure you're reading along and that you're quiet so her voice can project so other people can hear? Go ahead, take it away.
When light waves strike an object, three things can happen. The light may travel through the object, the light may bounce off the object and be reflected, or the light waves may be blocked by the object and not allowed to pass through. This blocked light is mainly absorbed by the object and turned into heat. A shadow is formed where the light is blocked.
All right. So in that paragraph that was read, I think is it. So when we go through, it said there could be three things that can happen. Can you circle three things? The word three things can happen. So then as you look through, you know that there's three separate things that can happen with light. So there's three. Can you tell me what is one of the things that can happen to light when it hits an object? It can be absorbed. So there should have been one. It says absorbed. So it would also maybe be the one sentence that says light will be blocked by the object. So I know that we had a section where you did talk about shadows, correct? Light can travel in a straight line. So if it hits the object may absorb or block it. So what are two of the other things that light can do? Can you read one of the other ones?
It can transmit.
Can transmit. So transmit. So looking through, we're trying to look at some of the key sentences that are within here. So we'll talk about transmit. Transmit is a specific vocab word we're going to touch up on. Can you tell me one of the other things that light can do?
Bounce off the object and be reflected.
So that's one of the sentences you should have had underlined or circled. Light may bounce off the object and be reflected. So that's the second one it says. The first one, I know you're using a great vocab word with transmit, but the way it reads it, can somebody read the first thing that it says light can do, what it may be able to do? Yes.
The light may travel through the object.
So light may travel through the object should be the first, that's the first thing it lists. The second one we had, may bounce off the object and be reflected. And then somebody mentioned the word absorb, or that next sentence says, the light waves may be blocked by the object and not allowed to pass through. So, the very first thing we did when you drew the snow beam, how would you describe what happened with the light? The light from the projector. Can you try to sum up what was happening with the light with the projector the first 5 minutes you had to draw your snow beam? Yes, I think it's Gia.
Transparent.
So transparent, you're going to a lot of our vocab. So light was able to pass through the object. Can somebody identify what was the light passing through? The very first one. What was light passing through? What would you say? So it's going through like the speaker of the projector. Anything else was it passing through? What else do you think? Yes.
The gas or air.
Yeah, I mean to me sometimes it seems so basic. It's the air, the gas in the room. I mean just passing through the air. Anything else?
She's going to the little glass thing.
Yeah, there's a glass lens on there. Now, when I put that piece of paper over, we all thought we'd be able to see the colors pretty clearly. What would you say happened there? What was happening with the light at that point? So what are your thoughts or opinions? Now, just a quick example, drawing a snow beam, and then we put one object over it. So what happened then?
The object blocked the color, but still let the light through.
Beautiful. Mentioned it blocked some of the color, but we could still see light. We just could no longer see the picture that was being presented. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about 3 key words throughout. So some of the vocabulary we're going to have is transparent. Transparent. Light is able to pass through. There's no issues. The light can go directly in that straight line to wherever it needs to go. Second one, we would have translucent. Translucent would be the example of me putting that wax paper over. So it's that middle picture. Some light passes through. So he stated, we didn't get to see all the colors, but we could still tell light was being reflected through. I didn't do a third one. I could have easily taken a book and put it up there. Would you have been able to see the picture if I put a book over that?
Yes.
No.
Really?
If you have super x-ray vision, maybe.
Mr. Duncan. Mr. Duncan.
I want the spoon.
Staying within the table. Pictures in there.
Here's the peace sign. I tried to draw him.
Oh, I see.
So if you need to share, pass everything around. Remember, one at a time, or if you all get an opportunity, make sure. So if you want to make sure you give everybody the opportunity to look through themselves. Can you see through it at all?
Hey, Colleen.
Careful.
Colleen, is my hand blue?
Well, you can see through a gap. So that's technically just air right here. But think of the object itself. The object itself. Good question. So make sure you have a chance to look at it. You can hold it up towards the light. Look through. So like this. Somebody mentioned, they're like, I can see through this gap. That's air, but what about this itself? Could you see through this part? All right, keep looking through all the different objects. There's your character.
Wait, what are we looking at? Well, I can see the rock perfectly well.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see your glove.
I can see it.
I can see the stripes on your glove.
Hey, Mr. Duncan, how's it going?
Good.
I can see you right now.
It zooms it in.
Oh my god, I can't go.
Like I see the one. Like I see
Okay,
the
we
one.
need to do something.
That is not
of objects. Can I have you make sure you're with your group? Right now, do you think, put your thumb up if you think your group has organized all the objects into one of those three categories.
No, I can't.
If you have not, work through. All right. If I can have all groups, you're silent. What I'm going to ask for is someone to volunteer and identify an object that you have in your transparent category. Transparent means light can travel through it completely. So if you want to, you can list off one item that your group had. And if you want to, you can also hold that up and display it. So what's an item that would be transparent? Got a lot of side noise going on. Magnifying glass. Would everyone agree? Magnifying glass is going to be transparent, see right through. Light's going to go right through it. All right? Did someone else identify another object that would be transparent? See, the light will pass right through it. No issues. Yes. Boom.
It's the deadliest weapon.
All right. Another object. So we've got the magnifying glass. We've got the spoon. What else would you say? It's like a piece of glass that maybe could go like an eye lens. I would agree. And if you have glasses, you obviously know right there, you wear something that is a transparent. Every day you can go through. Yes, what else could we add to our transparent group?
The Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yes, this pyramid, this prism. Some people, we explored a little bit. Did anybody notice anything interesting when you look through here? Not just that you could see through, but what were some other interesting things or something else you found? Yes. So the desk, we talked about seeing a rainbow. Anything else? I know like a group here and here. And I think maybe back there we found some other interesting things. Yes.
When I looked at this, I can only see his hair.
You could what?
I can only see his hair.
Yeah, we tried looking directly at somebody, and it wouldn't allow us to see directly at. It seemed like it kind of made it at an angle, which is going to be a unique observation because we will come back to these prisms later, maybe as soon as tomorrow. All right, anything else that we can have in our transparent group? All right, what about translucent? Translucent, I think a lot of us, if you had it in your group, I basically used it to cover up the projector screen. And that was an example. Light could pass through, but not clearly. Anything else that you found that would be translucent? Yes. So this yellow thingy, yeah, you can see like the light would kind of make it a little bit brighter. Now, I don't know, did every group have something like this? It looks like it. As far as I know, I think every group had the same object. Yes, in the back. The box itself. Some people ask, can we use the box? I said, absolutely. You can categorize the box. Anything else?
This.
So I didn't use this, but plastic bag. So this is one of those things, being able to see through, but not clearly, but you can still see through. Light could pass through. Anything else? Great example, paper itself. I don't know, did you have paper in there? You had a specific color paper, but he's talking about just the paper that we've been writing on. White paper, fold it up, you can see some light come through. Anything else? Yep, you have to tell. Now, what should that leave as our opaque? Things where the light is not traveling through. That was in there that you grouped. Yes. What's something you had? Rock. Did anyone else have a rock?
Yeah.
So the rock you're not going to be able to see through?
Wait, you mean the marble?
Then maybe, no, she has a specific rock. I don't remember seeing that in a lot of groups. Okay, you got one? Anything else that you could not see through? Yeah.
Say through a paper clip.
The paper clip. Now, somebody had a good point. They're like, well, I think there's a gap here. I can see through that. But technically, that was just an opening. So, like, if you look through kind of the spring in between, you can see there's a circle there. That's still just air. There's nothing blocking it. You're seeing through the air. But the paper clip itself, you cannot see through it. So, great. Anything else you could not see through? The rock, paper clip, yes. Marker. Now, you can see past it to the side, but light itself, thinking of, would it create a shadow, is a great way to also think about it. Marker would create a shadow. I don't know if a plastic bag would. I don't know if the magnifying glass would create a shadow.
You could see Cerritos.
So what about this? This is a good one. So he mentioned paper. He used his own paper. Where would you put the blue? I haven't heard anybody talk about this. Where would we categorize this? Raise your hand if you think hey, I would have put it here, I'd put it here. What do you think?
You put it in the opaque.
So how many of the other groups put this in opaque? You cannot see through it. Does anybody disagree? Would you put it in a different category? If you do disagree, what category would you put it in and why? So this will allow some discussion. Where would you put it and why?
I'll put it in the translucent.
So translucent. Translucent means it can kind of go through. If you hold this up to the light, a bright enough light, can you kind of see some of the light through? If you can say kind of, then I would agree. I'd put it in that translucent. So like right now it doesn't really look like it, but if I put it directly overhead, I can kind of see some splotches on the paper. So with transparent, can somebody raise their hand and explain what is happening with the rays of light? Now you may not always see the ray of light, but what is happening? So think of, if you have a ray of light, what is happening with the transparent, the very first type of object? Yes, Cece.
So most of the waves hit it and then bounce off. But a few of the waves go through so you can see just a little bit.
So would that be transparent or translucent?
Translucent. I thought we were talking about translucent.
I may have said the wrong one. But, so she described translucent. Translucent means some of the light rays are going to go through the object, and some are going to bounce off of it. Like I think that blue note card was a good discussion of it. I think Lyric stated that some you can see through just a little bit. Not great. That's definitely not something. If you're trying to peek in through something, that blue card would block it pretty well. You wouldn't be able to see through if that was there, but you might see some light. All right. Now transparent. How would you describe the light rays when it comes to transparent? So it's pretty clear and obvious when you saw a magnifying glass. Gia talked about it, I think, like the eye lens glass.
Yes, sir.
But what would you say is happening with the actual light ray?
It's going through it.
Just goes through it. Straight line, continue straight through, and you're able to see it clearly on the other side. Now opaque, that's our basic, that's our obvious one. And it's a vocab term you're not going to use all the time, but opaque. What happens to the light rays with opaque? And if you need to, glancing at that picture, the very last one, hopefully you can see that visual clearly shows you. So how would you describe what is happening to those light rays in the picture? Yes?
No light is going through it.
Yeah, it's not going through. It's being blocked completely. So it's not going through, but look at the direction of the arrow. What happens to the direction of the arrow in that visual? Maybe it's not so easy to see when you're doing an experiment, but I think this picture does a great job of showing what happens to the light ray. So as you're looking at your paper, what's happening to that arrow? Think of the tip of that arrow. Think of what direction does the light travel throughout the whole process. Yes.
It's like going just like diagonally.
So it's going diagonally. What else would we say? How else would we describe that? So it's going in a straight line, but then it does something else. So what's happening when the light meets that object?
It's bouncing off.
Great. I mean, great way. Now maybe it does bounce off at a diagonal angle, but it is bouncing off. It's reflecting off of that. Now you may not see the reflection. So, but if you have like a mirror, you're going to see a reflection. If you're not going to see through a mirror, it's going to bounce off of that. So let's go through and look at the true-false questions. I want you to go through, take a moment. I already know some people have already gone through, and they put a T or an F. You have, I think it is 8 statements. So T, if you think it is a true statement, I want you to mark it with a T. If you think it is a false statement, mark it with an F. And then we'll review those at the end, just to see if you have a good understanding from a quick experiment and a couple of quick examples. So let's work on this independently.